Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think what's really interesting as well is there's a thing about timing as well, isn't there, in politics, where there is a school of thought that would suggest if Mitt Romney were running now against Hillary, Mitt Romney would be winning. Mitt Romney would be the next president. Yeah, and it's almost kind of like, on the one hand, you could say if Bernie Sanders would have been the candidate, he would have beaten Trump easily. But is this Hillary's just her little window because she's up against Trump that she is just going to get this, she's going to get this office because, it's just fallen for at this time that she's up against somebody who is just so, off the reservation.
Yeah, there's that, and there's also just the different standard that the Clintons have been held to throughout their entire career. People always accuse them of having a bunker-like mentality, but if you look at the way they have been attacked from day one, some of it justified, absolutely.